was just freaking out. I was freaking, because the night before did we work? No, we were, oh, okay. The day after this, we worked for Dylan.
Okay.
In Wisconsin.
Got it.
So we had to wake up like at the ass crack of dawn and fly out to Wisconsin the next day.
Just like the old days.
Yeah. It was great working with Shane, but I hadn't done this in a decade. So I was just like, I was freaking out. I was still sore. Like even like getting up the ring, like to stand, to climb the ring, it felt like my whole stomach was going to rip open. Like I was in a really bad way. And I was telling MJF, in the back, I'm like, I don't know what we can do out there. And he's like, oh, just whatever you want to do to me. And I stiffed him at one point. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He's fine. It's fine. But it was like riding a bike. It really is. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm sure, you and Shane able to kind of channel the old magic, of course. But first time back after 10 years, it's probably easy for you to see him there because it's kind of like, peanut butter and jelly. It's the same old for you. He'd been on
the road, though. He'd been working this whole time. It was me who was sheltered. Like I had just, I got back into conventions and I was starting to do conventions and stuff. But being at ringside, I just always said, I'm not going to do it. But the money was so good. I was just like, okay, let's try. But I think these people, they didn't really care what we looked like. They just wanted it for nostalgia purposes.
Right.
And they got it, this night, Dylan's show in Wisconsin, like it was a lot of fun. So
yeah. And this, I remember we promoted this on Triple Threat and you came on and this was, legit. This was the first time you were coming back. We made a whole big thing about it. But this was interesting in time, like we look at the world now for wrestling. MJF was just the rising star. He was just a guy on the indie scene who everybody kind of knew he stood out a little bit. But you're going right back into the, the fire, so to speak, with a guy who's like running everybody and their mother down right before you walk out there because the promo he cuts is seething before this thing starts.
Yeah, and I remember sitting with him in the back and he was telling me, he was going to sign with AEW and all this stuff. And he was like, I think he kept saying, I'm only 23. Like it was surreal to him. And he's like, I'm just a kid. I'm just 23. And I'm going to break kayfabe, but he was nothing like his character. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's living the gimmick now and he's
very ensconced.
And this and that. That night, he was a humble, nice guy who was happy to work with Shane and I. He was eager to let me beat him up. He didn't care. He was really good to work with. He cuts a hell of a promo here on Shane. He came up with this verbiage. And I know we're talking over it, but basically talking about how Chris and Bam Bam had passed, but Shane was the survivor. So that got some heat, which I liked. And then so the next day when we went to the other show, we told that the kid that worked against Shane to say the same promo, and it worked there too.
It's pretty. Yeah. Anytime you hear that in a promo setting, it gets the oh.
Well, especially because Chris and Bam Bam are past.
Yeah.
So that's heat right there. But yeah, this was fun. It was fun and it was easy. And like I said, once I got out there, the nerves kind of calmed down a little. But it's just. For me, like I don't like. Oh, there's my shirt, by the way. Somebody has my shirt on. Thank you very much, sir.
That's great.
I just don't feel like I looked that great. I don't know. I feel like I look better now than I did back then. But again, that's three surgeries that I've been through. Even before the podcast started, this is Jazz. Bitch.
Bitch. Penny.
Bitch.
How dare you,
Move
man?
your pretty face over a little bit for me. Move your pretty face over. There. Look. Yep.
There you go.
She's perfect. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm fantastic, baby.
You're busy, girl.
Isn't that the key?
Look, that's what we all are trying to do, you know. And my girl has been working her ass off, and I want to get right into the whole Impact thing because we spoke a little bit before you started, but I didn't really get the whole story, and I'm glad I didn't because you can tell it here. And we'll go back to us.
Yeah.
Back in the day, but I want to start off hot and fresh. How did the Impact gig come about?
Well,
for those who don't know, she was just on Impact television for a while before she retired, before she Terry Funked. Let's face it, you ain't done yet, girl.
No, girl. Let me tell you, that's what they all say. We're never completely done.
No.
But Jordan reached out along with Dreamer and asked me how I felt about coming to Impact. I told Dreamer, I was like, yo, I'm fat, out of shape. Like,
never.
He was like, eat a salad. You'll be okay.
Go to the bathroom. You'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like that's what it takes. But basically, that's what it was, you know. And I went there, I had no clue that it was gonna be extended for over 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. But thank God, you know, it was a blessing. And I had fun with the Franny. I've never had the opportunity to tag with anyone, so that was pretty dope. I enjoyed my time there.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch Impact, but anytime your stuff came up on the internet, I watched it because you're my girl, and I have to support,
I love you.
And I was thrilled. I was thrilled to see you on there because I mean, to me, I feel like you've always been underrated. You know what I mean? Like you're so good, but I don't think that you've ever got the props that you deserved in this business.
Yeah.
You know. You've lived it. I mean, you know, you know how it goes. So when I saw you, I said to myself, okay, they're going to treat her like a legend, you know, and she's there to put the young talent over because we know the deal in our late 40s. We know what's going on. Exactly. But it was so nice to just see you shine, you know, and for them to put you in a position where you know ahead of time what the deal is.
Yeah, of course.
And it just gives you that little extra nudge because then when you go do your indie work and when you go, you can say, hey, did you just see me on Impact? Did anybody just see me on TV?
I did that, yes. Yeah.
So how much input did you have in what was going on there?
You know how it is. They have writers, you know. I didn't have no input at all, but I was able to do what I was capable to do in the ring. No one forced me to do anything. You know, I let the younger girls put shit together, and it was like, I'm just in here, just, you know, it's not about me. You still do what you got to do, tell your story. You know, I'm just a part of it. So, and they did so great of covering my flaws. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty cool, laid back. The girls were tremendous.
That's great. And you looked great. You didn't look out of shape. Ridiculous.
Let me tell you, friend, I said a lot of prayers before each time I went to that ring. Let me tell you.
This girl's got twins and she's still got muscles on muscles and abs. So don't give me that BS. You looked phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal phenom, Jazz. She looks phenomenal. I was thrilled to see you on there. Have they left the door open for you?
Yes, you know, but there hasn't been any talk as of yet.
Sure.
You know, but the way they set it up, I brought in Rachel Ellerin to team up with Jordan to continue the chasing of the titles, which they won at the pay-per-view, and I was there to witness that and be a part of that. So, you know, it's always an opening, but it's, you know, how it is, totally up to them.
And you could always come back as like a manager.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Like, they want to know if you're available for this day. I'm like, please tell me it's not a match. He was like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm available. People don't realize TV matches are so different from just regular house shows or indie matches.
Right.
You know, you can pace yourself. You know, I can go 15 minutes on an indie match, but TV is such a fast paced. And yeah, my days are done with that shit.
When I worked for WWE, they gave I think they gave us a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do in a minute and a half? You know,
That's walking down the ramp, trying to get over walking down the ramp in the ring for 10 seconds to get a pose in, and bam.
That's done.
It.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I'm really happy that you got that run. Tell us about your school. How's that going? And Rodney, man, is he still tanning?
You know it.
Only black man I know that gets in the tanning bed.
Yes, and he needs it too.
I love it.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? The kids, what's going on in the world of jazz?
Man, you know, the school, first of all, the school is going great. It's Rodney, myself, and we got Thunder Rosa. She teamed up with us. So, you know, the Dog Pound Dojo is going strong. We're growing each day, each week. You know, we got Thunder Rosa has our all-women promotion, Mission Pro. And then we got SWE. So we got talent that's coming in that's just chasing opportunities. So we're just here to share the knowledge and pass the torch.
Now, what do you are you just talent for SWE, or is your hand in there too? Because you know I'm coming in for them.
Yeah, girl. I'm a director of the women's division. I book girls, I do the matches. Yeah, girl.
Okay. I'll be answering to her when I get. Well, I won't be involved in the women's division. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna be with some blonde guy. Ringside, but
says cut the fucking music.
That's right, man. We're doing it again, and you'll see my face go, huh? What's happening?
That's Friday.
But I can't wait. I can't wait to see you, and hopefully we can hang out. And
we will. Damn, what's going on? I'm gonna make.
I love it. I love it. How is it there in Texas with this whole COVID?
You know, honestly, we were shut down for a few months, and then they slowly start opening things up. We still have to wear a mask, but I mean, it's like the doors are open, man. Like SWE's been drawing over 1,000 people.
Wow.
Show.
I'm seeing pictures of shows, and I'm seeing a lot of people without mask on.
Yeah.
And it's you guys are safe. It's not a big deal, because I'm a little like,
wear your mask.
Wear the mask.
Yeah, we tell the talent it's to your preference.
Okay.
You know, so yes. You know, we got some people just don't believe in, you know, the whole mask.
I really don't believe that the masks work. I'm not going to be I'm not going to lie. But I mean, I don't know. If my nose is covered and some dude coughs on me, there's got to be a little bit of protection.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And you know how wrestling fans are. They want to be in your face. They want to hug you, you know.
That's not. Look, this is the year of no contact.
Yeah, and it's hard, especially for us, right? Because, you know, we see each other. It's like, it's love. And
I think that includes the workers. I think the workers are getting fist bumps from me.
Yeah.
I love you, but I can't touch you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we did the whole fist bump thing for a while, and and the next thing you know, I'm caught up in the moment, and I'm there fucking
hugging and kissing her
with the hand around the fucking fan and cheesing. I'm like, oh man, shit! I hope it didn't breathe on me.
Let me ask one thing about the TV tapings. Was it weird being basically like in like almost it's the sound stage with nothing except for the sound of the mat and nobody else?
Oh, because you don't have any fans there, right? Impact doesn't have fans.
No, and I believe if we'd have had fans, I probably would have been able to do even more, because, you know, you feed off of that energy. That's what that adrenaline kicks in at, you know, but your music hit, you walk through Gorilla down the ramp, and it's like cricket.
You're pointing to no one.
No one. And it's like you want to get hype, you want to just, you know, but nothing. That was so hard. Hard. You know, those pauses you take to let shit sink in, you know, but yeah, none of that.
Damn.
That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because just watching. I mean, I haven't had to do it because, you know, I haven't done anything. But just watching you guys, like even to the point of like WrestleMania and seeing, you know, their moments be taken from them because you want to work in front of the crowd. You want to hear the roar and there's nothing there. It must be like extremely difficult.
It's difficult, Franny, because you know, the fans, they make the show.
Sure.
You know, whatever reaction you get, it's a reaction.
Yeah.
Silence.
It's hard.
That's deadly, man.
I think it's just funny. Like you hear the music, you see the lights and the strobes and all this stuff, and everybody's doing their taunts, and it's like there's nobody there. It's like you can't just walk right to the ring because then it's awkward. So it's interesting how they made it work. But
and it seems like the girls and guys are just constantly just going. It's like no stopping, no pauses, no nothing. I'm like, shit, bro.
Yeah, it's all rushed.
Yes. Yes.
Well, slowly, I feel like things are getting back to normal.
Yes. Thank God for that.
Yeah. I mean, I tell everybody, look, you do your thing. You want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear one and you don't have to, don't wear one. If you want to get the vaccine, get it. If you don't. Your body, your choices.
Exactly.
Do what you want. So I just tell, please, if you feel sick, stay the hell home.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't come around me.
How was Disney World when you went?
Oh, girl, we had the best time ever. The mask sucked because, you know, it's hot in Florida. It was hot. But I mean, we had a great time. It didn't.
Was there less people there?
Yeah, they were at 35% capacity.
Okay.
So, I mean,
pretty cool.
It felt less crowded than other years because obviously when you go there's 100% people there, but there were still people there, but we followed precautions. Now when you got to the hotel, that was like a different world. Nobody wore their mask. 20 people in the hot tub with their Bud Lights elbow to elbow drink. Like I'm like, where am I? Like it was so different. But I mean, thank God none of us got sick.
That's all we can do.
You can't live in fear. You can't stop living. I'm slowly realizing that. Like in the beginning, I was petrified to leave my house. And now the more research I do, the more I read about it. I'm like, we have to live. Like
gotta live, man. Exactly. Yeah.
So again, to each your own, but I've had enough.
Yeah.
I
understand.
I'm slowly starting to take bookings again. I'm a little apprehensive, but I said to myself, I'll just stay away, do my thing, and
exactly. Wear your mask if you feel safer that way, and
wear a hazmat suit. I'll be walking in like an astronaut.
Still smile underneath the mask as if people can see your smile.
They'll see my smile marks in my eyes. Right? Yeah. So the school's doing well. How are the twins?
Twins are great.
They're beautiful, by the way. I saw a recent picture.
Yes,
I saw them training.
Is like bigger than me.
They're training.
Girl. Yes, they had their first match a couple of months ago.
How'd that go?
Went well. Of course, they're not bumping yet, so they went there and told a little story and without any bumps.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I pushed onto them. I think they kind of just. I think they love the attention, they're still young. And
what are they? 13?
12.
Going to be 13. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 12. So we'll see where it goes. They're still young.
Yeah.
So only time will tell.
Now, does Rodney agree with them getting in the business?
Oh, well, of course.
Does he? But know.
I was more a little more apprehensive about it, but he was telling me I was being a hypocrite. I'm going to tell them not to do something that they see me do every day. So I'm like, kind of makes sense, but still, But now things are changing for the women. We're actually getting more opportunities. We're no longer allowing ourselves to be treated like dog shit. So hey. I was just scared for them based on all the bullshit that I know that goes on behind the scenes and not being treated fairly. And
it's good you mentioned that because I talked about it on here before with Chad, like thinking about the guys in the business. I'm not going to name names because that's not cool, but some of these guys in the business, and Medusa just went on a rant a couple weeks ago, I think, and she was talking about, you guys look up to people who shit in the girls' food and would shit in their bags, would do all this terrible stuff. They do interviews. They call us rats. They call us this. They call us that. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm looking back at the 90s, early 2000s, and that was the mentality of the boys. Yeah. And it didn't matter how hard you worked. You still had that stigma because you're a woman. Maybe you dated somebody in the business, which is inevitable because who did we know? Exactly. Who are you around for 4 or 5 days out of the week? We had no social life outside of the business. So you're going to gravitate towards what you're around. Exactly. Day. And I would never, unless you're sleeping with 5 guys at once, then it was like, okay, maybe you deserve that. But if you're dating someone that didn't work out a couple years later, you date one, who cares? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't give you the right to go do a shoot and say, that one was so-and-so's rat. No, she was his girlfriend for a couple years. It just pisses me off the way these guys just have open forum and they could say whatever they want. And the girls just look like pieces of shit. I hate it. Yeah, when someone spoke up about the women not having their own locker rooms when you go to venues. That's happened to us before. How many schlongs have you seen just trying to walk through? Oh, how you doing? It's there. Yes. Horrible. Yes. But that's the disrespect that they shown us. They don't care for sitting there. They're gonna get undressed and do what they do. But if we would do that, oh my God, we're rats, we're sluts, we're all bitches, whatever. But it's like we deserve to have at least a curtain to go behind to get dressed. That's not asking for much. But as key, I make sure we have our own locker room. That's a must. Well, that's good. I mean, when we would go to a building and there'd be a women's bathroom, we would do a dance. Yeah. Because we'd have to sometimes pee in a urinal. I mean, it was ridiculous the circumstances we worked under. It was. Really. Yeah. And I'm talking about ECW. I know WWF was a different entity, but it seems to me like the tide's turning, and I don't know if it's because of the Me Too movement or if the guys are so scared to talk. But it just seems like there's more respect put on the women today than there was 20 years ago. Exactly, and we deserve it. And another thing, there's no more the boys club. The women now, we're just, the biggest draw than the men. Right. Yeah. We're no longer the circus act. We're no longer, where you put us out there in the ring and hopefully everybody goes get popcorn or to the restroom. We're drawing now. Sure. We've always drawn, but now it's being noticed. We're finally being acknowledged that we are a big draw. But don't you think too, it has something to do with the writers? Because, if they're in there writing these stupid ass storylines that the girls have to follow, not the talent's fault. It goes back to The Office. It does. It does. Especially, when you're a bigger platform, for sure, it's the writers. Yeah. 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 And whoever has the last say so. It's amazing. They say the women have come so far, but I think you got to give it to the writers too, because they're starting to realize, these girls can do more than just stupid pillow fights. And when I was in WWE, they called us in a meeting and they always told us our ratings are doing great, but we're wrestling too much like men. They want tops to come off. They want the bras to be seen. And we looked at them like, are you kidding me? We're out there killing it. And you want us to go 10 steps backwards to show a freaking bra. It's like, come on. Yeah, the gear kind of looks like bra and panty anyway. Anyway, wear. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, so you gimmick the shirt, so when you grab it, it just so happens to just rip, and now she's all exposed, and I guess they get their little pop, and the boys. Do you remember the spot that you and I had to do at the pay-per-view? I remember a lot of spots. Okay, so when George was with us
Oh yeah.
in California, and you had to rip my top off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I looked at Paul and I was like, first I looked at Jazz and she's just like,
yeah.
Then I look at Paul and he's like, and I'm just like, and I go, so I'm gonna put big X's over my boobs so you can't see anything.
Yeah.
And Paul goes, well, don't make them too big and don't put your hands over your breast. And I go, why? And he goes, no, just let them flow.
Yeah, but you know
I
who
put
would
my
tell
hands
them to
over my
pull your
breast.
pants down and walk around in some briefs, Paul?
I put my hands. I made I waited 3 seconds and then I just went. But I wanted everybody to see these huge. I put these huge X's.
Yeah.
Like they were huge.
Yeah.
But I was like, now what did that do? I would have rather you bumped me than took off my top.
Yeah, and it would have got a better reaction anyway. I mean, people
I think so too.
I tell all my women students, I'm like, you're not really here to sell sex. If you're hot and you're cute, even if you're ugly duckling, somebody out there is going to say you're hot, regardless. You know, we're half dressed anyway. I'm like, you're getting more attention by being physical in the ring than actually trying to go out there and, we're trying to tell a story. You got your heel, you got your face, right?
Yeah.
And these girls go out there, they want heat, but they go out there shaking their ass. It's like, who's gonna boo that?
You gotta turn them.
Yeah, help me get over. Why don't you?
You have to turn them. That was,
man.
I mean,
yeah, you can't do that by going out there through the curtain, wiggling and shaking your ass and twerking and
they twerk.
No one's gonna. No, you're not gonna get an ounce of heat doing that.
We just watched that a few weeks ago. We just watched that whole thing play out with what was going on the outside. It's almost like your top got ripped off, but there was so much other stuff going on because of what was going on the floor.
Yeah. I was actually pissed that night because I flew my husband in because I was finally in a freaking main event. And while we're out there in the ring doing this, and Franny causes a whole fucking... No,
I did not! How dare you?
I'm kidding. But anyway,
listen,
I'm looking around. I'm like, after the match, I'm like, babe, you see my match? No, he's outside spearing people in the freaking street.
Everybody else.
I'm like...
Well, do you remember going over the match that night and Dreamer saying to me, climb the ladder behind me and hook me? And I go, you're going to fall on top of me. He goes, no, I won't. I'll bump to the left. And I go, you're too heavy. You're going. Do you remember this? I said, you're going to fall on top of me. And he goes, I won't. What did he do? He fell on top. And remember afterwards, like my ribs were like almost broken. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And he was mad at me for 6 months. And then he goes, I just watched that. It was my fault. 6 months later, he apologizes. And I'm like, honestly, God, you're like, hell, I don't know, 300 pounds falling on me.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Easily.
That was awful. So between that and then the fight, and then, because when I fell, you guys, that was a cue for you guys to like get in the, and you're both looking at me like, can you breathe? And I was just like,
yeah. That was a crazy night.
It was horrible. The whole match was just,
yeah.
I was
like, yeah, this is what it feels like to be in the main event.
This is great. And it was not my fault, by the way.
No, it wasn't. Always. I just like
if I didn't go over to that girl, they still would have taken their shirts off and did their deal, and Atlas still would have ran over, and it would have been a madhouse. So
we were ready for that night anyway.
Oh yeah. We were in the back watching the monitor, like, okay, there he is. There's that guy. There's that guy. Yeah. We knew it.
Yeah, and Paulie said, "We're gonna empty the freaking locker room," and that's what happened.
But blame it on me.
Yeah,
I'll take the heat.
Heat's on Franny.
And at 1:30 in the morning, I'm sleeping, and the phone rings, and it was our lawyer, the lawyer, and he goes, "Yeah, get ready to be sued." I go, "Okay, good night."
Yeah, right.
Oh, whatever. I was like, for what? I didn't do anything.
I'm selling my ribs right now.
Oh my God. I didn't have to sell. It was real. Oh, good times. Getting back. Let's go back a little bit.
All right.
We might have talked about this before, but never here. How did you and Rodney get into ECW? Because you were trained by JYD, right?
JYD in the beginning, and then Rod came into play, and we started training underneath Rod.
I saw him.
Yes.
saw him in New Orleans.
Yeah,
For the first time
yeah.
in like years. I love
I
that
know,
man.
right?
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, and he told us that y'all were going to be in Louisiana for a loop, and we need to hit the road and do a tryout.
And what year was that?
Oh my God, early 98.
98. Okay.
Or late 98.
Okay.
I remember when I debuted, it was cold as fuck in Philly. Like freezing cold. Yeah, it was like towards late 98.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't it seem so long ago? Oh
It was, honey. It was
wow.
a long time ago.
Wow. So yeah, that's how it happened. And I that weekend, the Friday, the Saturday, I didn't get in the ring. Because I was just like, I just felt like I didn't fit. I didn't know. I saw you and Dawn Marie and y'all up there looking all hot and sexy. I'm like, they don't want anybody like me. And it was Dawn Marie told me to get my butt in the ring and show them what I could do.
Yep.
Well, I finally got dressed, found some hallway or something, because wasn't allowed to go in the locker room. I found a hallway, an empty hallway, and went and got dressed and got in the ring with Jason. And RVD goes up to Rodney and tell Rodney, "Yo, is that your lady?" Rodney was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Bro, I wouldn't let her get in there." And he was like, "She'll be all right." And I remember everyone gathered around the freaking ring and nervous as hell. And oh my God, completed the match and ran out, went to the nearest locker room, which it was Sabu, Tommy Rogers, one man gang. They were all sitting there, and I just ran past them into the restroom and puked my guts out.
There you go.
There you
go.
All
those nerves out.
Nerves, yes.
But you know something, Jazz? You worked with the best person because Jason brought out the best in every female. That's the one thing that I loved about Jason. He put the girls over every single time and let us shine.
Yeah,
like he had no ego whatsoever. He's like,
nobody in there did, Franny. And I said it all the time. Like, if it wasn't for the guys in ECW, there would be no Jazz.
Yeah, because you beat up like everyone. You did.
Yeah, it's from Simon Diamond and Steve Carino.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
We just watched one of those matches too. We just watched you and Carino a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was you and I. We tagged up against Carino and Jack Victory.
Yes, Jack Victory even put me over. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
God. But Franny, we was just so happy, and for more reasons than one, and it's not all about the money, right? But
what money?
Yeah. But we were just so happy. There was no egos. Everybody there had a chance to work.
Yeah.
Everybody knew their role. We knew Nova and Chetty then were going to open the show, and the rest of us was just going to fall in line and get the opportunity. So
tell me a difference in your mind. You've worked ECW, you worked WWE. What's the difference like between the locker rooms? I always ask it about people because I know what my difference was. My difference might be different than your difference.
Yeah.
If you don't want to say things, I'm not pressuring you, but
yeah.
Let me know the difference.
As of now, for sure, there's so many girls there. When we were there, Franny, it was maybe 10, if that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how we would feel being in the position these girls are in now? There's like 100.
Everybody's fighting for a spot.
Yeah, everybody's fighting for a spot. And we never had to do that in ECW.
No.
We never had to fight for a spot. We knew if we were flown in or showed up at the venue, we were going to have an opportunity to work.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what I feel the difference is. Like, it's just, there's only so much room for TV, and not everyone's going to get that opportunity in WWE. And it's just.
Did you feel the family
in WWE?
Yeah. Did it feel
no family?
Yeah.
No, it was so much backstabbing, I'm just use the term politics.
Yeah.
And I always thought my talent would speak for itself. there's some things I just can't compete with. I can't compete with someone over there brown nosing and sucking ass and all that. I can't compete with that.
Girl, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I can't
the
compete
same
with
problem.
that. Like all I got is what I got. And if
You got talent, you got TNA, you got talent and ability.
and ability, baby.
Remember that?
You damn
So,
right.
Here's a story, Jazz. I'm sure you remember it. When we went back to the fake EC Dub,
Yeah.
you were called in a little later than the rest of us. You came in, and I don't remember where we were. I don't know what town it was, but you had a rent-a-car.
Yes.
And you drove alone.
Yes.
She drove alone. And I remember talking to you, and I said, I don't want you getting a hotel or drive, because we had a loop and we were working somewhere the next day and we had to go by where my parents lived. And I said, well, why don't I drive back with you? I'll see if it's okay. Because I didn't want her driving alone because she's my friend, right? So Dreamer says, yeah, go with her. That's a great idea. So we go, we get lost. I mean, the whole yacht. Whole 9 yards. We get back to the house, we chill. Then we went somewhere else. We did a show that day, and then you flew out and dropped me off or whatever. I'm just trying to be a good friend. Do you know I got in trouble with the office because I jumped in your rent-a-car and I didn't take my return flight home?
No.
Oh, I got heat. Who told you to drive with Jazz? And I said, Dreamer.
Wow. Yeah.
And I said she was by herself and she had to drive. I don't even know where we were, but it was far.
Yeah, it was.
And I said I didn't want her to drive by herself. I didn't think it was a big deal. No, you should have never did. I got in trouble with the office because I was a friend and I drove with you.
Yeah, those people, there's something else. I remember when Rodney injured his leg and he had to fly out the next day to go see about getting surgery. So he had to fly to Alabama. And they literally had to like really think about allowing me to go with him. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, the dude, he can't even walk. Jesus. You know, he had to urinate in a trash can. Like if I wasn't there, oh my God.
You would help him.
Yeah. They didn't want me to go. I got heat for that, but I told them I'm going. If you like it or not, I'm going. That's my husband, you know, but they document everyone else's surgery and pre-op, post-op, all that shit. But they didn't even want me to go and be there to support my husband.
Exactly. It just baffles it. You know, it really does depend on who you know and what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they told me go oil up your chest and knock on Vince's door and lean over the desk. I'm not lying.
Oh my God.
I'm not lying. And I said, I don't do that. I've never done that. And they were like, yeah, just put some oil on your chest and go nuts. And hey, Vince, I go, no, I'm not. Oh, well, you don't want it bad enough. I said, well, apparently I don't, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And, you know, and they didn't utilize you the way they should have. You know what I'm saying? Like, like tremendous mic skills, you know, like, girl, it's just, I don't know.
I told Vince to his face, I wanted to take Kevin Thorne's finisher, and he goes, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
I go, well, then what do you do? Because I'm not really doing much.
I know. They had me doing a run in on Kelly in a bikini, and they got upset because I got a pop. I'm like,
you ran in on our bikini match.
Yes.
At one time. And I think you pie faced me and I took a bump through the ropes to the floor.
Yeah, and I had to do something to Kelly, and you know, they're like, well, you're a heel and you're getting a babyface pop. I'm like, this is ECW.
They didn't get it.
What do you expect? And they didn't really like Kelly anyway at the time. So, you know, the mailman could have did a run in on it. He got a pop. So
they definitely dropped the ball. There were so many of us, meaning the originals, who wanted to work.
Yes.
And who wanted to do things. And when I got that call that said, we have nothing for you, I laughed.
Yeah.
I literally laughed at Johnny Ace and I was like, are you kidding me right now? Because how many meetings did I go in and pitch this or I want to do this?
Yeah.
How
So did
can
we.
you tell someone who has ideas you have nothing for them?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I was a champion twice, and they told me the same damn story. Creative just can't come up with anything. I'm like, how in the hell I go from being in Mania and to there's nothing you can come up with?
No. And you were
Like,
there for what, 3 years? The whole
Yeah.
length of your contract?
Yeah.
And then they just said, we're not renewing?
They couldn't come up with anything for me. I'm like, dude, I said I can tell my own story in the ring. I don't need a writer.
Right.
I can do my own storyline. But Rodney and I, we went and wrote a 6-week storyline out. We turned it into Fit. Paulie even helped us. That's how it was, just fucking nuts. We turned it into Fit. Fit gave it to Stephanie. Stephanie gave it to Vince. A couple of days later, Stephanie go, Jazz, good news and bad news. I'm like, okay.
Great.
Like, I don't know. What the fuck do I want to hear first? So she goes, good news, we love your idea. Bad news, we're going to put it on someone else.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh, that's
Who got
awful.
it?
I don't know. I didn't even give a rat's ass. I stopped. I haven't watched
I'm
wrestling
watching right
since.
then and there. Unbelievable. Oh,
Yeah.
that would have pissed me off so
Yeah.
bad.
What do you do? What do you say? You want to just
Oh my God, that's terrible.
yeah.
Shit.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and back then was like social media because you could tweet. Yeah, I gave
Oh,
them
yeah.
that. That's my
Oh,
idea.
yeah. If social media was back then, I mean, oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
girl, that's terrible.
Yes. And that's the God honest truth. I put my hand on the Bible right
I
now.
believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
But you know what's
And prior to that, give me 1 second.
yeah,
Chad.
no problem.
Johnny Ace would come tell me, Jazz, you're great. You'll never have to worry about a job. You have a job here for life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when you got signed in 01, you went to OVW first, right?
Yeah, they told me to go down there and just knock some ring rust off. There was no time frame of how long I was going to stay there. So I was there doing nothing because Cornette wouldn't use me because he was writing TV for OVW. So I was just there kind of, hanging
Why
out.
didn't he want to use you?
Because he didn't know how long I was going to be there. They told me I was going to be there for a couple of weeks.
Ah.
But
And
it
how
ended
long
up
did you end
being
up staying?
maybe like a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
But weird because you debut at the Survivor Series for them when they kill ECW. So you came in as part of the group and they killed it the same night. And it was like, okay, well, Jazz is
And
here
you know
now.
what? I was shitting bricks. I thought I lost a job.
Really?
Really? Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like, now what's going to happen?
Oh, because you thought you were just going to be with the ECW brand?
Yeah.
They said the storyline was that night when the alliance, the WCW ECW alliance lost, those guys were out of jobs and they found loopholes to bring them back to TV every so often. But that night it was left in limbo. Unless you were a champion, you were gone.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Nice.
And I'm grateful and I'm so thankful for the opportunity, the platform, of being a WWE Women's Champion. I just feel I deserved a little more. I never received an action figure. I never had merch.
Yeah.
Anything, Franny.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you had a better career there than I did, but they actually scanned me for the action figures.
Me too.
Yeah, and I was like, really? And they're like, oh yeah, go and get scanned. And then they're like, oh, we're not doing it. It's like
They flew me in. I was home. They're like, we got to get you in here right now. There's a high demand for your action figure. So they flew me in, and did all this and that. And I'm like,
Nothing.
what happened?
Ugh.
What did I do?
Yeah, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything wrong, I should say. You didn't.
Yes.
It's not you. It's not you. It's them.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself anyway. But
Oh, didn't you love how Mickey James put him on the spot about the trash bag?
the trash bag. I mean, there's got to be a nicer way to send clothing back to someone. At least they got their
It
stuff
happened
back.
so long ago with us. I was like, was my shit in a trash bag? Or
Yeah, I didn't have any stuff there because I didn't last very long.
I never really kept stuff there either, but I had a few items. But I'm just thinking, like, was mine received back in a trash bag?
You don't remember?
Like, I'm sure it was, if that's what they've been doing all these years.
How do they ship? Well, it came in a box, and then I guess in the box was the trash bag.
The trash bag, yeah.
I mean, look,
yeah, that's pretty shitty, right?
I was told this from day one. Everybody is replaceable. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You could be on top one day and then out the door the next.
That's
you know?
That's
so you know, it didn't matter how many times you were champ or this or that. When they're done with you, they're done with you.
Yeah. And don't have to have a reason.
No.
Because I didn't do absolutely anything. You know, never had heat with anyone. No confrontation. Just, you know, first one there at the venue, in the ring, always working on my shit, you know.
Yeah. Well, I always tell kids today, you know, that's not the Mecca. Yeah. People want to think that, oh, I want to work. You can go work there, but if you're fired, there is life after WWE.
Yeah.
I always
a lot of people can't handle that.
Yeah.
You know, they can't handle I guess just so call themselves celebrities or whatever. They can't handle going to get a 9 to 5. You know, that shit didn't bother me because I'm a mother first.
Exactly.
You know, so if I gotta go buy Pampers and clothes, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. Because I left the first job I had after my kids were born. I became a CNA at a nursing home, Franny.
I think I remember you telling me.
Yes, and I loved it. You know, but you know, who says, you know, go wiping someone's ass? That didn't bother me at all. Not at all.
You do what you got to do for your family.
Question me about that all the time. Like, how do you feel from going kicking ass to cleaning ass? Like, this is the way you're looking at it, you know?
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Look,
great line.
It's a job.
It's
a job. And look at you now. You're doing so much. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you were never in the sport again. You left your mark on the business, and we all know how good and talented you are. You know what I mean? So your fans know it doesn't matter if you worked, you know, as a maid or as a janitor. Who cares? You're working and you're providing for your family. That pisses me off when people say, "Oh, so and so works at Target now."
Yeah.
Who cares? He's taking care of his family. I mean, it irks me so badly.
And some 8x10s or something. Support him. Maybe he wouldn't have to work at Target.
Well, some people don't want to be in the business anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Some people legitimately. I mean, I had a period where I was like, I just want to be home with my family.
Yeah.
You know, I think as a mother, we all kind of go through that. You want to be with your children.
Yeah.
But then they get a certain age.
Yes.
And the calls start coming, and you're like, well, I could make a buck here. Should I do it? Okay. And then you get sucked back into it.
You get sucked back in, Franny. Every time. I've kind of stepped back a few times just to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm get a job, get some insurance.
Yeah.
You know, and just be normal. And again, like you said, that phone call comes in, you're like, fuck, okay. And you back in full speed.
But the best part is you're your own boss now.
I love it.
Exactly.
Me, what was it like leaving WWE and going to the Indies? I'm like, I enjoyed my freedom.
Right.
No one could tell me what to say, what to do. You know, of course, I'm still going in being professional and doing whatever the promoter wants of me, if it makes sense.
Sure.
You know, but yeah, to just have your freedom and just people just don't understand that WWE is a job.
Yes. Yeah. It's nice to wake up and say, I don't feel like working today. I want to take my kids to the park, or I want to clean my house.
Exactly.
And not deal. You could do that.
Yeah. You look at your calendar and say, okay, well, I got 2 weekends booked. The last 2 weekends of the month, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. You know, enjoy your family. Family to me is everything. Yes,
they are everything. And everybody keeps asking me, "Oh, if AEW calls, I'm 49 years old. I don't want to be on the road. I don't want a full-time job. I'm doing 4 jobs from the house as it is.
Yeah.
Just hustling, still hustling.
Yeah.
I'll take a payday when the payday's good.
Yeah.
If it's shitty, I'm going to stay home. No offense.
Exactly.
But I'd rather be with my kids.
Exactly.
I'd rather, and believe me, I'd rather not work at all, but you know.
Yeah.
You got to do something.
Yeah. We like nice things, you know.
I like to buy my stuff myself and not have to say to my husband, can I have some? I like my
Even
stuff.
if it's a candle, you know, it's still the good to go in your own wallet and get your money out and
Absolutely. See, this girl, she gets it. She gets it. Well, I'm super stoked about Texas. That is, I believe, July 24th.
Yes.
We still have time.
So. I believe so.
Yeah. So you and Rodney will be there?
Of course, love.
I'm thrilled about that.
I'm so excited when they told me you were coming in because I mentioned you prior.
Oh, did I have heat with the office? I don't even know who the office is.
No, we didn't have heat at
Who's
all.
the office there?
They just told me, okay, well, we'll consider that, and we'll get her in. Even if it's for a meet and greet, because like, will she wrestle? I'm like, well, Franny never really wrestled. Like, that's not her deal. You know, I'm like, no, but she can manage. She's great on the freaking mic, you know. So, you know, but it all worked out, god dang it.
See, the problem with me now, I've had so many surgeries, I'm not allowed to bump because I have mesh in my stomach.
Yeah.
Because my abdominals keep coming apart. So they had to put, so I'm not allowed to do any core.
Yeah.
So if I take a bad bump and that rips, I have to go right back in for emergency surgery.
Yeah, that's nothing's
worth it to me.
Nothing's worth that.
No. So I'll go and I'll do something, but I'm not. My wrestling days are over. Yeah. No more mixed tags for me. I'm good.
Yes,
I'm good. But I'm excited.
So much.
Yeah, I miss you too, girl. I'm excited about seeing you. Where can people? Let's start with your school. If anybody's interested in even if you don't live in Texas and you want to travel, where can they find you for that?
Dogpounddojo.com, and that's dog with 2 G's. Yes, DOGG.
What was it again? Dogpounddojo.com. Okay. Yes. And then where can we find you on social media?
On Twitter, I'm at Phenom_Jazz.
Oh,
IG is my shoot name, but I'm never really on IG.
I hate it.
I'm not photogenic. You know, like it took me all I had to put some lashes on and lipstick to do this. You know, it's like that's just not my thing. You know,
I hear you.
I got on some shorts and a t-shirt right now.
I got on sweatpants right now.
Yeah. So it's like that Facebook. I'm underneath my shoot name again, Carlene Begno.
Okay.
So hit me up. I'm taking bookings for seminars. I'm actually doing my retirement tour. So I have a few matches, you know, still left in me. So if you want to see me, reach out. Yes, please do. I need to get these calendars filled for July, August, and September.
How is your health?
Health-wise, I'm good, Franny. I had to start going to get a massage every week because my sciatica was just torturing me.
Yeah.
My knees are shot. I can't jump. I can't do anything. That's why, you know, I told myself it's time to, you know, hang the boots up. If I can't go in the ring and do the shit that Jazz does, you know, it's why get in there? I don't want to be called, look at that old bitch, you know, go sit down. You know, I've worked too hard for my legacy to get shit on because I still think I belong in the ring.
That's when you get in there and you do things that you know you can do, like you said with Impact. You do things that make you shine, and it's okay because you've earned it. Yes, you know, you've earned your spot. When I started with Paul back in '93, when I started, he told I was training to be a women's wrestler, right? And he says, "No, you're not going to do that." He says because women's wrestling doesn't sell. And that's what, but back then,
it didn't. Yeah.
And he said, right now, you're going to be a manager, and that's what you're going to get over with. That's why I've never really had to like be
Yeah.
a female wrestler.
Yeah.
He didn't want me to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so
Mm-hmm.
in my training, I just stopped
Yeah.
at that point, and everything was just on the fly.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to take this. Okay, what is it? Well, we'll just do it out there. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
Never had to go through what you did,
Yeah.
because he kind of pumped the brakes on me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But when you came in, there wasn't that women's division that you're probably looking for.
Yeah.
But
that's why I didn't think that I would fit, you know.
But you the same with me. Like, he made me beat up the boys.
Yeah.
You're more realistic than me, because you came in like a brick shithouse. You were built, and you just had that muscularity, and you can go. Like, you were keeping up with everyone.
Yeah.
So it was, I think it was perfect. You know, you were little.
Yeah.
But you were, you know,
Yeah.
you had
Yes. You know, and
short.
thank God Holly and Dreamer saw something in me.
Yeah.
You know, just a little black girl from Memphis, Mississippi, you know, shows up in Louisiana, do a tryout. A few weeks later, they call me in to come to the arena, ECW arena.
I love it.
Like, wow.
My favorite, I've worked with you so many times.
Yeah.
both being faces, me being a heel, you being a face. You were a heel, I was a face. I mean, we worked together so many times. But one of my favorite memories, real quick, is when you were at ringside for something. I was not involved. I was watching through the curtain, and your wig got snatched off your head, and you freaked out. She's screaming, "My wig!"
Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know if this was the same one, because it probably happened more than once. But I had a ponytail, and it come out, and I took off. I went to the back in the locker room. Hurry up! Wrapped it back around.
Put it back on your
hand. Put it in there, and ran back out and finished the match.
I love it.
Nova laughed at me for probably months after that. Oh my God.
Just seeing you freak out. Like, you didn't freak out over spots. It was my wig.
Yeah. Yes, girl. Yes.
I love it.
Look
Well,
how much money I'm saving now. Oh my God.
What made you do that?
You know,
like it.
Wearing weaves for over 20 years, people don't realize that costs a lot of money.
A
lot of money. But I had just so much damaged hair, and then I got sick, and they put me on some medicine, and it did more damage. And, you know, because my mentality was, I didn't give a damn about my hair, because I always was covering it up.
Yeah.
My hair. So my husband said, "Baby, why don't you just shave it?" And I was like, I don't know. I've had hair all my life. Like, how could I do that? So I was like, hell with it. Went ahead and shaved it, and everyone seemed to love it. And so
you look great with it. I mean, my first reaction seeing you, I said to myself, oh, because I know I'd spoken to you, and I knew you were going through some stuff, and you were sick. And I said, well, if she's sick and she had to do it, that's okay, but she looks friggin' good. I couldn't pull that off.
Yeah, so many people thought I had cancer, and fans still walk up to me. I'm praying for you. And everything works out. Like, thank you. I need prayer regardless.
Anyway, just do it. Yeah. Well, you look great. I always say this to my guests that I've worked with. Thank you for being so easy to work with, because I've never once had a fight with Jazz my whole life. No. Never once. And
I've never had any issues with anyone, Franny.
Well, that's good. I have. We won't go into that, but you were literally one of my favorite people to work with, because it was just easy breezy. Always had a good time. Always laugh and smile, and we're still friends today. So
that's why ECW, man. Like, it was nothing but love, Franny. And I love you guys. You guys open your arms again. You know, little black girl coming in from the country, not knowing shit, you know, never traveled before on a flight, you know, and they put me on a plane by myself, and I'm freaking out, you know, but you ladies, y'all was so cool, you know.
We clicked right away. I remember the first night you guys came in, and we just clicked right away, tried to make you feel comfortable. And it makes me happy that we're still friends and we're still in touch. So, I wish you, nothing but success.
Thank you. I need it.
I know we all do, sweetie. But I'm looking forward to July.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll talk to you before then, I'm sure.
Yes.
And just give my love to the girls and to that man of yours. Tell him I was
I
asking.
will. And your kids are growing. Oh my
They
goodness.
are. They're getting big. My daughter will be 12 in July.
Oh my God.
So
yes.
we were pregnant right around the same time. You were a little before me, but my son's 9.
Yes.
So they're getting older.
Oh, he's so cute. Yes.
Time for another one.
Oh my God. I made sure.
Snippy snip.
Oh, girl, I had a hysterectomy, honey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, twins are a lot. But the best thing is they'll always have each other, and that's what I love.
And they fight like cats and dogs.
That's okay, though. You know what, Jazz? Especially if they're getting into business, because we had Devon on a couple weeks ago, and his boys, the twins are doing their thing. And that's what I told Dee. I said, they're always going to have each other on the road, and that is priceless because I didn't have anyone. Yeah. I didn't have a mentor, a female person when I started. Like I gravitated to the guys because that's all we had. That's
all we had. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're
that's why I want to meet y'all wings so fast. I'm like,
yeah.
I had you guys.
Yeah, but they'll always have each other, and they have great parents that know the business inside and out, and you could put a scare into the boys for them. So they're going to be all right, I'm sure.
All right.
All right. Well, this was great.
May Nicole Bags rest in peace, but remember, what's my spot?
Like you talk to the boys, and they're still like, I don't know what happened. No one knows.
Well, I'll pull up the card. So you shared this on Twitter on this Monday evening
with a frowny face, sad, and broken heart.
So if they called you around March,
maybe
if anybody,
I could be wrong.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's March.
Okay,
I gotta really make that bigger.
Yeah,
but
that's tiny.
If anybody remembers the timeline, when some of these guys came in, oh man, I'll have it on the screen bigger when people see
and
it.
let me just say one thing. Our lineups never looked this professional. They were always on a napkin or a piece of used crumple up paper. I don't know somebody put this on the computer, so I stole it.
Some of these guys were on WWF TV in the next 2 weeks after ECW was gone. I mean, PJ was on TV, Rhino was on WWF TV, Spike Dudley. I mean, they were fast-tracked. It was incredible. But this is what the card was. Here we go. Nova defeats Tom Marquez with Oz. Who was Oz?
I don't remember. I'm going to keep reading. I'll look him up.
Okay.
I know him because if he was there, I was there.
Classic contest here. Christian York and Joey Matthews defeat Easy Money and Julio De Niro.
Wait, who came up was Kevin Nash.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is the joke. I mean, it wasn't Kevin Nash taking time out after WCW is about to go out of business.
Oh,
Super Crazy and Tajiri. That's a hell of a match for that last card.
Yes.
Danny Doring and Tommy Dreamer defeat the FBI.
Okay.
So interesting pairing, Danny Doring.
Yeah,
and Tommy Dreamer.
that is. I don't remember why that was it.
And it is a tag team championship match.
Oh, did they win?
They did defeat the FBI. So, well, remember, Doring and Roadkill are the last ECW tag team champions. So.
Well, then technically, wouldn't it be Doring and Dreamer?
It would be Doring and Dreamer.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
In a street fight, Jack Victory defeats C.W. Anderson with Lou E. Dangerously.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. In a singles match, Michael Shane defeats Oz.
I was just going to say, so I pulled this up, and apparently he had 5 matches with us in 2000 and 2001. There were a total of 5 matches, and this is his picture.
Let me see. Oz. Okay. All right. Not what I was expecting.
Why am I not remembering?
Oz, if you're out there.
I'm sorry, Oz.
Call in.
Why don't I remember this? Oh my
get in
God.
touch.
Sure
Eyes up here.
I know I had to have known him, but yeah, I don't know what that deal was.
Okay. The Prodigy defeats Phoenix. Rhino defeats Spike Dudley in the ECW World Heavyweight title match. And then we've got a singles match, Just Incredible with Francine defeats the Sandman. And then in a hardcore match, the Sandman defeats Just Incredible with Francine.
We had 2 matches?
That's what it says on here.
Wait a minute. Who was Phoenix?
We're backing up to Phoenix and the Prodigy match.
Who's Phoenix?
Well, I mean, look.
Phoenix.
The entire show is on YouTube.
Oh,
the entire show.
We should watch. We should do a watch along of the last show.
Your match with Sandman is about the last half hour of the card.
Yeah, we were last. I was crying. I went to the back, and they were like, "Come back out and drink a beer." And I was like, "Absolutely not! I can't even breathe right now. It was so bad. I couldn't control myself because I was so sad." So, yeah, that wasn't happening. So everybody was having a beer and having a good time, and I wept in the back.
You know what? If you don't mind, I'm going to bring up you at this show coming to the ring, and we're going to see what was going through your head.
I think it started to hit me. I think I was in character, but then it started to hit me like as the night kept progressing. I was just like, oh, this is so sad. We all knew. We were just like, look, I have my bucket hat on. I don't really. Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. I was like so upset. Yeah. Hi. Hardcore Wrestling TV. Okay.
I mean, they're pushing the limits here, this Hardcore Wrestling TV.
Yeah.
But you could definitely, this is a subdued duo for sure.
I was not, my heart, I mean, we wanted to give them a good show, obviously, because that's what we did, but my heart was not into this. No belt, no cane, just us and my bucket hat. Yeah, very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, very sad.
Okay. Well, what do you do? What do you do?
You rebuild and you have a podcast 22 years later.
Is that what you do? Wow.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Talking all about it.
Yeah. And it was nice that most of the people, I'd say 99% of the people on there were like, ECW isn't dead. It will never die. We love you guys. Thank you for everything. And I was just like, oh, I'm sitting there reading all the comments. I was like, oh, these guys are so nice. But still, it's just when you think back to something like that, it was a blow. You know what I mean? It was terrible. Just imagine you wake up one morning and they tell you like something you worked so hard for years is going to be taken away from you. What on earth do you do? The only thing I can say is thank God I didn't have a family that depended on me.
Right.
It was just me. You know what I mean? Like I was still living at home with my parents at the time. So I didn't have to really worry about like paying a mortgage, or I had a car payment, but that was it. Car payment and my cell phone were the only 2 big expenses, and I can work an indie shot and pay that off in a weekend. So, I had that, but I loved ECW. Like that was my baby, and it was taken away way too soon. So very, very sad day.
Okay. So this is a question that we really should have addressed 2 weeks ago. But
I know what it is.
Tempers Flair 2006 asks, thoughts on the Mandy Rose situation with WWE?
Wow. My main thought is I feel like if WWE was making a profit off of that website, they would let her keep it. But it's become a content discussion. The content is adult. The content is inappropriate. We're a PG company. I don't know if I buy into that. I also read that it was A-Train. Is that his name? A-Train?
Matt Bloom.
Matt Bloom, who stooged it off to Shawn Michaels.
Right.
So was there some heat between Matt and Mandy at one point? Was there any connection between the two? You have to wonder. I mean, it would have probably came out anyway down the line, but for somebody to run and stooge that off and get somebody fired over it, that makes me think like, hey, is there something that we don't know behind the scenes that happened? I don't know. But I feel like anything that they cannot make a dime off of, they are going to put the kibosh on. Now, should she have been fired? I don't think she should have been fired. I think she should have maybe got a warning and said, you have to take this down. You know, get this or make the content. If it's all about the content, don't do this content anymore. Make it PG, do bikini, do lingerie, what we do on the channel, basically, or what we do in our magazine, or do they even still have the magazine out? I don't even know.
No, they don't. Nope.
Okay.
Don't have that
Well,
anymore.
you know, they're all about, you know, promoting women with the bra and panties and bathing suits and whatever, the photo shoots that they did. Why wouldn't they just give her a warning? Why did they have to fire her? I don't agree with that. There's people on the roster that have continuously taken drugs, you know, have been charged with multiple DUIs, been charged with murder, yet they haven't been fired. But this girl is making a side hustle. Granted, I mean, okay, it doesn't suit what WWE stands for. So you tell her, don't do it anymore, and give her the option. Okay, do I stay and get rid of this, or do I quit? So
Right.
she got fired, and guess what? She made $500,000 since.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Good for her. Good for her. I can't do stuff like that. For me, like I just can't do that kind of content. I don't throw stones at the women who do. Make your money. Get it. You know, that just goes to show you, you don't need WWE to make a living. And she's not killing herself. She's not taking bumps. Now, is she going to come back to wrestling? Maybe. AEW would be crazy not to try and grab her, because when you work for AEW, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Pretty much, you know. So maybe we'll see her down the line. She was way over from what I hear in NXT. So to just get rid of her like that makes me feel like there is a hidden agenda. There's something else going on. And I can't put my finger on it because I don't know anybody to ask them.
Yeah, you got to believe there's something that led to this, or backstage heat between somebody, because she was what you would, I guess, classify in that prototypical Vince McMahon pushed superstar when she came to the main roster, and Vince put her in like a glamorous, you know, like sauntering, you know, like provocative, suggestive gimmick. But they scrapped all that, sent her to NXT, and she like reestablished this wrestling side of her career, and she was super over.
Yeah.
But you know what else is super over? Boobs. Boobs are super over. So the fans will pay for boobs if they are offered boobs. Right. And from what I understand, the content she's doing is more along the lines of like softcore, maybe the Playboy style of photographs. Nothing that you can't just go on your Google search and find, but they had to have just had some kind of either, I don't know, maybe they have a morals clause we don't know about. Maybe they have some sort of content restrictive clause that's not being spoken of. But, you know, the two that are being talked about are the Matt Riddle stuff, and maybe I'll bleep the Riddle name because I don't want anybody commenting on any things that we put, because it's not saying anything positive nor negative about Matt Riddle. But also Paige. Paige not only had sex videos leaked, but she had videos leaked of the NXT championship being defaced with a certain sort of fluid that comes out of a gentleman.
Oh,
and she kept her job.
I didn't
never
know that.
What?
No.
There's 3 videos that came out with her. It was the one with Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods, the 3-way dance.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Then it was her preparing for the three-way dance with a device in her backside.
Never
and
saw
then
that.
it was the money shot on the NXT title.
Who did that?
I don't know who did the money shot, but she sure took it with the championship right under her face.
Well, I think the difference is they were leaked. That was done in privacy, and they were leaked. Mandy's making money off of these.
Right. But yes, that's correct.
Why, that's why she didn't get fired, because they were leaked. There's a difference.
Right. No, I understand that, but what people are using as examples are those two things, and that, she was maybe they could have come to an agreement of, hey, WWE, I get to do this if you let me do that. And they just fired her.
I just feel like was there ever a conversation like, do you're not supposed to be doing this on the side? And if so, take it down or else you lose your job. A warning should have been issued. That's how that's what I think.
Yes,
now,
I agree with that.
If they told her several times, like, we know you have a site, take it down, and she says, no, I'm not going to take it down, then you get fired. I get it. But if she wasn't issued a warning and they just fired her on the spot, no, I think that's wrong. 100%. But good for her for making her money and making more. I don't think she made $500,000 there in a year. She made that in a week.
It's crazy.
In a week. That's a ridiculous amount of money. I said to my husband, why do I have morals? I could be the MILF that does this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I can't do it, and I won't do it. But that doesn't mean that she can't do it, and good for her. So yeah, I just feel like it wasn't fair. I don't think it was fair, but there might be something we're missing. So
yes,
I think
there's got to be a warning we're missing.
There's an extra piece to the puzzle that we do not have. So it's hard to comment.
And it was public. It's not like they didn't know. People were always tweeting stuff about it was not OnlyFans. It was called Fan Room. And it's an alternative OnlyFans style site. And, I had mentioned on a live show, she was rating dick pics or something for a certain amount of money.
Yeah,
that was out there.
That. Tammy did that. I watched Tammy do it.
But they were out. That was out there. That wasn't a hidden thing. So I guess there has to have been a warning that wasn't disclosed to the public.
Yeah.
Because they would not just irrationally fire somebody just like that. And, I think the little wrinkle to the story that makes it more entertaining is that Matt Bloom found it and brought it to Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels brought it to that. That's the wrinkle like that. How do we know that? Or why do we know that?
I don't know. That's what I read. And I was just like, okay, where's the heat? There's some kind of heat going on, or there's just something that we're not privy to. Yeah. We're here to talk about, the NWA title being thrown down in the middle of the ring. And that's the night that he cut that awesome promo and declared it the ECW heavyweight championship. And the anniversary is today. And, I thought maybe we should do a little tribute to Shane, do a little video, because who knows if this didn't all go down, if this mastermind plan didn't happen, like how, think about it. Well, what would have happened instead? How would they have, because for those of you who don't know, this was a very hush-hush, secretive situation going on the night that this happened. Dennis Carluzzo, who I don't think I ever met. Everybody always says, did you ever meet Carluzzo? I think I did. Do you know Dennis, or did you know Dennis?
I used to go to his shows all the time.
Okay.
So I remember shaking his hand at shows as a fan, because, he would be walking around like crazy, and, you knew it was his show, but I never knew him outside that, because then, he passed away before I started going to shows, trying to get work on shows. So,
yeah. So apparently Dennis, was at ringside for all of this. And I guess, they're thinking that this is going to be huge for the NWA and for Dennis and for the organization. And I think it was between Shane. Who else was in on it? Todd Gordon.
Yep.
I don't even know if there was anybody else.
Paul Heyman.
And that's it.
And that was it. Yep.
That's
the
pretty
three
much
of them.
it, which is crazy. And we have the footage. We're going to watch the promo, which was a very well thought out promo. And I don't know if he did that off the fly. I can't remember if he told me he was just making it up as he went along. But he does reach out to his dad, who had just, who passed away, and very touching. But, it's the anniversary, and it's been 30 years.
30 years.
Since that
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's one of those moments that defines an era, right? And he stood out so much at the time, in that, when you heard about ECW in those early days, he stood out so much because he was one of those names that you knew from outside of just that Philadelphia area. You knew him, right? But you didn't know him like this, and the way we got to know him. But that promo, I do believe he did go off the top of his head, because he wasn't sure of what he was going to do. He was still on the fence, but Corluzzo was really trying to get him to sign a deal with the NWA. He wanted him to. He was sticking a contract in his face, going, "You're coming with us. You're staying here," and he didn't want to do it. And that promo, I believe people were throwing the names out at him while he was talking. So, typical franchise fashion, he's off the cuff. He's just doing it the way he feels.
Yeah, I'm looking at Reddit right now, and this was a topic on a Reddit board. So just reading what the fans are saying about it, and just a lot of different opinions about this, because there was some kind of partnership at this time between Dennis and, I guess it was Todd initially.
Correct.
Because, Paul came in. Todd was there already, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like in Dennis's mind, if it was supposed to be this joint thing where they were going to feed off of each other, and was it supposed to be the NWA? Was it still going to be Eastern Championship Wrestling? I don't know what was going through Dennis's mind, but when they show Dennis the facial, he has no clue what's going on, and he was blindsided, and
right.
It's trickery, and it's sad. I kind of feel bad for him. You know what I mean? Again, I didn't know him as a person, as a promoter. I don't know anything about the guy, but something like this, could you imagine if you were sitting in Dennis's spot, if this was your deal, and you're just thinking, man, I'm joining forces with Paul Heyman's here now. This is going to be something good. I'm really excited to do this. And then they drop that bomb, and it's like, oh my God, are they pushing me out? What could have been going through his mind when all of this, because I don't even know the aftermath. Do you know the story about what happened afterwards?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of chaos, and they had to get that belt, and they had to figure out what they were going to do.
Hold that thought. Let's watch Shane's promo. And because this is all I know, I've seen this so many times, and actually people have printed this up on 8x10s and t-shirts, and Shane has signed copies of these things forever. People always talk about this promo. So for those of you who haven't seen it, we're going to watch it right now, and then we'll talk a little bit about what he said, and then you could tell us the story about the aftermath, because I don't know if I was there that night for this. I know I was with the company, but I don't know if I was at that show. I can't remember. It's a really long time ago.
How about that?
Was Shane under contract with NWA?
So they wanted him under contract.
Right,
He was, under whatever deal he was with Paul.
He was on a handshake agreement then? Like,
whatever Paul Heyman deal he had, they were an NWA affiliate. So whatever this NWA title tournament deal was going to be, I guess Carluzzo assumed, well, I'm just going to sign him to a deal because he's going to be my world champion now. So he's going to be mine.
Right. So, okay. So they were running separate from ECW at the time. Correct. Was Shane working shows under Dennis?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
So there was no alliance outside of ECW. This was
outside of there just being under the one umbrella.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my belt to your show, and we're gonna put it over and crown a champion for my promotion. Right. And then I guess what Dennis might have been thinking was sharing talent at this point.
Right.
Doing like talent exchanges and whatnot. But here he was totally blindsided.
Blindsided. Absolutely.
And they had the nerve to go interview him afterwards.
Oh, yeah. No, that's great.
I mean, come on.
Oh, man. And Carluzzo with that thick South Jersey accent. Woo!
People say my accent is bad, right?
Man, you two can have a great conversation.
When did he pass away?
I want to say like 2005, 2006.
Oh, so it's been a while.
I could be a little bit off on that.
Okay.
Let me see. He passed away 2001. Wow.
2001.
Yeah, earlier than I thought.
Oh, my ring like just fell.
Oh my goodness. But I can still see you. They're a little darker. Just like earlier today. Yeah, he passed away July 30th, 2001.
Okay. Of a broken heart because the belt was dropped in the ring?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jesus, bleeding on the brain.
Oh, God, that's sad.
Ouch.
Yeah, not
horrible.
Making fun of that at all.
No, that's horrible. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, very, very bad.
But caught off guard. Shane did not work for the NWA. He was not working for Carluzzo, and he did not like the way Carluzzo was going about the process of thinking he was going to sign him to a deal, and nobody backs Franchise into the corner. So, he made a decision. He was not on board with throwing the belt down and going the way he did. That was an impulse decision. He was still on the fence until he was right there, smack dab in the middle of the ring. And I mean, that is something that, could that have just carried with him for the last 30 years? That this guy he started a revolution right there. He's unpredictable, but that is a hell of a promo off the top of his head. If that's
it totally was. So I'm thinking in 1994, was he there on a handshake with Paul? Because I know for me, I wasn't offered an official contract till like, I think it was 95, maybe 96. Because in the beginning, it was just like, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars for however many shows we have, and you're going to come in. Okay, thanks. Shake my hand. Boom.
Yeah.
There it is. Now, if Shane was under any type of contract, why would Dennis Carluzzo think that he could just snatch him away and put him just strictly under the NWA umbrella? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it had to have been like a handshake deal with Paul,
right?
A gentleman's deal, if you will, because if he thought that, there's no way you could just snatch somebody if they're contractually obligated to be with one company. So that's very interesting. A great promo, very heartfelt promo. Some people have said, he shouldn't have did it. It was dishonest. While the majority said it was the coolest thing that they've ever seen happen. I just feel like it was a blindsiding, like if you put yourself in Dennis's shoes, like that's like, what the hell is going on? he wasn't invited to the meeting that day, so he wasn't aware of what was going on. But it changed the business entirely. It changed ECW, that's for sure. 100%.
It's one of those things. If, where would ECW have been 2 years later? When you guys were rocking and rolling, maybe if it wasn't for that promo, you think you might be in the same spot, or you think you still might be an NWA affiliate had there not been that huge, just monumental shift? Because to me, that sets the tone for the attitude that you all had as a promotion. You know what I mean? It took away. We watched the debut episode. There was no attitude on that show. That was a cut and paste pro wrestling independent show of the 1990s.
Yeah.
This to me reeks of the setting the pace and setting the tone for what we would then see until February 2001 or January 2001. This promo right here is you guys, but then take this away. And let's say, let's fast forward to July 1996 and you're throwing powder in somebody's eyes. Maybe it's not in the same vein. Who knows? This could have changed. Mandela effect. It could have changed everything.
This told the fans, you never know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? This just, if you're sitting in that audience thinking this is just going to be another one of these, these shows, we're going to see some wrestling, blah, blah, blah. Nobody ever expected something like this to happen. So this set the tone for, actually changing it over from Eastern to Extreme, because, stuff like this. No, there were always those guys in the front. We saw you mentioned the hat guy and the sign guy. I don't know who stooged off what, but that sign guy always had signs to each angle that was going to happen that night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know how he found out. I don't know if somebody leaked it to him. It wasn't me. I'll tell you that right now. But he always knew. He always knew. So, Mick Foley's leaving for WCW. Here goes the sign. I'm doing this. Here goes the sign. Like, he knew in advance. Did he have any inkling? Were there that sign that you were trying to read? Did that allude to anything about the belt? Because this was the one night that I think he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was going to happen, or nobody told me this was going to happen. Like, I'm just trying to think, how secretive was this?
Yeah, it says ambition provides or something. It's something about ambition. So, I mean, hey, that was a quite ambitious move.
I mean, I'm just, every show he would have a sign and it would be right on the money. That son of a bitch knew exactly what we were doing.
It says the franchise Shane Douglas, ambition provides the ability.
Okay, so really that doesn't.
No, it's just a cool little catchphrase, okay. Maybe that
but
Shane could have adapted.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single time he knew exactly what was happening. We're like, who is stooging this off to this guy? Who does he know? It's probably Paul.
like having a stop sign, conveniently ready for somebody to use, right?
Or a prosthetic leg.
Or a prosthetic leg.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, this totally changed the whole dynamic of the company. Made it more edgy, made it in your face, made it you never know what could happen at an ECW show. And I feel like, I don't know if it stayed the way it was and it was a talent exchange, and then we would have had to listen to both Paul and Dennis. And I think, two cooks in the kitchen, I think that could have blown up and been a disaster later down the line. I think at one point they would have tried to get him out anyway. So it was just sooner than later, but it worked out for the best. And what a night.
A night that'll live in infamy. Now tell me, and you'll give a great description to the listeners. What does an August night in the ECW arena feel like?
It feels like you're in the hottest part of the desert. You're dripping sweat. It's probably about 145 degrees. No air conditioning back then. Filth everywhere. Hepatitis B all over the mat. It was so hot that when I did a run-in, I literally jumped on Gary's back and slid right off him from between the baby oil and the sweat. It was absolutely disgusting. And again, we didn't have hair or makeup people to help us. We did it all on our own. So even if you tried to put a curl in your hair, it was just 5 seconds later, it was gone. It's like, why even try? Ungodly hot. The conditions were so. I mean, if it just felt like you were out in like under the desert sun, between the lights and it having no air conditioning and all the people just hovering over that ring. Ugh, nasty.
Probably smelled great.
And I wouldn't change for the world because it was the best place to ever work.
That's awesome.
But it was nasty.
Now there you go. We will leave it at that with that wonderful memory, because there's apparently an incident that happened at a restaurant.
What is this?
All right, so let's play. This is so it says the Ric Flair incident is exactly how you would imagine it. A clearly inebriated Flair is angry because he got cut off and he decided to make a scene.
He got cut off from the bar?
I guess. Let's see.
Okay.
Well, I didn't do it wrong. Except spend money and put this place over and bring my family and friends here. That is bad for you. Why would it be that? Well, watch social media tomorrow. I don't follow social media. Well, you better. I don't get stuff on my phone. What's your name, Job? Nicholas what?
What's your name, Job?
Nicholas Dickhead.
Don't ever talk. You don't have to call me like that. You don't have to do this to me. If you really need my family. I'm not.
What?
I didn't do one thing wrong. I walked into the bathroom.
And you because I'm my kitchen manager.
Oh, you're a kid high cost. Really? What world do you live in? What world do you live in? How did that cost him?
Oh.
I think they said who did he say who did I accost?
Yeah, apparently he's hacked somebody.
I didn't say one cuss word.
Okay. He said he attacked his child.
Ma'am, I'm going to give you $1,000 tip just to say to him, kiss my ass.
Okay.
I know. You're disrespecting me. Telling me to leave.
I'm not telling you to leave, but just telling you that you're cut off.
Oh, I'm cut off and I'm not? Really?
I hope people can hear this
I can raise the volume.
that are listening.
He is. I can stop it here if it's just going to be back and forth.
Please give yourself $1,000 tip, he's saying. Oh my goodness. Thank you, sir. This guy and I are cool. What the hell? What?
Then along comes Egyptian. Holy crap.
I'll say it again. You're a dipshit.
Oh, jeez.
What is happening?
I won't come back again. Come on outside here and talk to me like a man.
Oh,
man.
we're getting
He's starting to do the.
You have the pussy, he said. What?
Oh boy.
Oh, now a patron wants to fight Ric Flair.
What's that? What did you say to me?
Hold on. His whole family's there. What is happening?
You know how many?
That lady's seeing people. What the hell
Wow.
did I just watch?
Man, he is messed up.
You got to turn that up. Can you?
Yeah, I could turn it up.
How do
He
you
is,
do that?
he is, as we say,
So,
drunk.
so he was in. It looked like a diner.
And you know what it looked? I don't know if it's a diner as much as maybe even like an outdoor bar with like a, like one of those like seaside bars where it opens up, because it looks like in the back there's windows because there's TVs above them, so it looks like a bar-ish, but like one that kind of opens up.
Okay, well, wherever he was, I guess the owner or the person working there said that he accosted. Is that the word he used? His child, his kid. He touched his child.
That was a little.
So Rick
odd.
said, "I didn't touch anybody," and then he called him a dipshit, and then. And then he started saying, "Let's take it outside," to where a man was just sitting at the counter, and he said, "I don't work here. I'll take you outside." Rick goes, "What did you just say?"
Yeah, he had no response for that one.
Wow. Okay. And then he gave $1,000 tip to the girl, which she was probably like, "What?"
She said,
me
"I'll
that
give you
credit card.
$1,000 tip if you tell him to kiss my ass."
Yeah, I would have said, "Gladly, sir. Kiss his ass, please." Give me
I
my
would have been like,
$1,000.
"No offense, no offense. Don't believe it. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass."
Kiss his ass.
This tweet here says, "I'm the man." Where is it? I'm the manager. Oh, I stopped sharing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a little bit more.
What is happening?
I did not know anything about this.
He's all
Says,
over the place.
I'm the manager of Paisanos SFP, sister location off Archer. Mr. Flair was being drunk and disorderly. He wooed directly into a blind grandmother's face.
What?
After being confronted, he picked up furniture and swung it menacingly. We love Rick, but he was boogered, meaning, I guess, drunk.
He wooed in a blind grandmother's face.
So, all right. So get the picture.
Oh my God.
Some blind grandma with her walking stick is walking, and he just went up again. He's doing the Ric Flair thing, and he just went, woo! Right? Is that the picture you got too?
That's terrible. First of all, he probably scared the shit out of her if she can't see the poor thing. Oh my God, I'm done.
I mean, like, seriously, what else could
There's
there have been?
so many tweets about it. Holy
This is
crap.
great. Let me look at it. Yeah, look at all this. Look, there's just a million of them.
Oh my God. Hey there, it is the Queen of Extreme Francine from ECW. Do you want to see more of me? Click over here to watch another video, or click over here to listen to my podcast. As always,